underneath the lovely London sky.
Hello, welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you are old here. My name is Ashley, this is Ashley Faith, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you about my experience at UCL. I did an undergrad degree at UCL called BA Ancient Languages, and my home department was Hebrew and Jewish Studies. There's another department that had sort of like joint custody of me, that was Greek and Latin. That is a really weird way to describe which departments I was in, but due to the topics and the subjects and the classes that I took, those are the two main departments that our degree sort of falls into. That's a little bit about me. I also am really into theatre, as you will see in this video, and I also just want to show you my Mary Poppins jumper because isn't it amazing? First thing that I want to tell you is that if you haven't been on my channel before, you might not know this, but I absolutely love UCL. I'm obsessed with UCL. It's my absolute favourite place in the entire world, almost. Like, I just love it so much. I have loved it since about year 9, when it first sort of dawned on me that I had to choose what university I went to, and my mom first started looking. Yeah, I've been enamored by UCL from the very beginning, and as you can tell from the first university videos on my channel, I was obsessed. Sort of on results day, when I found out that I was going to come here, I like fell on the floor. And if you look at my announcement video where I talk about UCL, I'm dressed in my UCL jumper that I already owned, and I had my computer screen behind me, pictures of the of the portico, and I absolutely loved UCL. And as soon as I got here, it felt like home to me. And I'm sure there's some people who don't have that experience of UCL, but I think it's very important when you're choosing a university that you choose a university that you feel at home at, because you're going to be living there, you know? So as much as possible, it's best if you feel at home there, and that is one of my biggest pieces of advice. I'm gonna split this video into sort of different areas rather than my years, because I feel like that would be just easier for me to make sure that I don't miss anything out. And I'm not gonna be talking about my university housing in this video, because I have so many stories to tell about university housing. I feel like that merits its own video, so that is what it will be. So you'll get to see that a little bit later. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Drama Society.
What? Sorry, what? Would you like to go with Berlin? What do you mean? I mean, you get to go with me, you get travel.
Come to our play! It will be over by the time you watch this one. It'll be over by the time. I'm excited! Because I really must kill you. Now, surely you'd be like, oh, don't you actually want to talk about your degree? But for me, Drama Society was my life, my love, and one of the reasons why I'm so excited to go to Central next year is that technically Central is part of the University of London. I can join any of the student unions of the other universities in the group, which means UCL, which means UCL Drama Society. You haven't seen the last of me, but I have done so many shows over the years with so many lovely people. I'm going to talk about a few shows that still have a special place in my heart. In first year, I did a show called Soapbox with my wonderful friend Ella, who I actually did sign language with in second year, and that was a piece of writing that she wrote, and it was wonderful, and we had such an amazing time. In first year I did 5 shows, and I was super busy, and it was just the most wonderful thing ever, and I met amazing people. And in second year I took a shot at actually performing, which I hadn't done in about a year and a half, and we did a show that was called Zoe's Room. It was another piece of new writing in a new writing festival, and I played Zoe, and Zoe was like a 7-year-old whose older brother was in university, and it was just the most wonderful experience. The cast was full of my really good friends. I had some old friends there and some new friends, and it was just a wonderful experience actually getting to be on stage again. And I love playing children roles. I just find them really fun and freeing, and it, like, you know, you can just flop your body around because that's what children do, and I absolutely loved that show. And then in second year I also did a term 3 show called Birdland, which was amazing. There's an entire vlog on my channel if you want to watch that whole process. I'll link it up here. I know it now. I'll link it up here. It was a wonderful, wonderful show. I did it with some old friends again, but also some new friends, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then in 3rd year, I mostly, because it was 3rd year, was focusing on my degree and my work, but I also decided to go headfirst into my committee role that year, which was workshops, and we did a set of workshops with Sign Language Society called Drama Without Words, focusing on making theatre deaf accessible, and it was so much fun. We didn't have a performance out of it, but it was just about people coming together and learning about people with different needs and learning about how we can include those in our theatre, and it was really wonderful. That was sort of set on the back of, in 2019, that academic year, UCL Drama Society winning the Diversity and Inclusion Award. So we just wanted to carry on working from that, and I felt my position as workshops was apt to do that. I also did a bunch of other workshops that are absolutely wonderful. Drama Society really has my heart, and I would not be the happy person that I am without Drama Society. So I just want to say thank you to anyone that I ever worked with in Drama Society. If you're watching this, you probably aren't. My biggest piece of advice is to join societies. It doesn't matter what your interest is, whether that's sport or arts or a culture society or a religious society. Join societies. I also took part in some Sign Language Society events and some Jewish Society events, and they were both wonderful, and as much as I didn't spend as much time as drama, I would have all the people that I met there were wonderful, and my advice to you is to join a society. Now, the second part of this that I want to talk about is sort of the London experience and the UCL experience, like sort of together.
That over there.
Now, London is a wonderful, wonderful city. It is expensive, I'm not going to deny that one. It is hella expensive. You may need to work part-time, and that is totally possible. I have worked with a nannying agency, and London is such a diverse city, and there's so much to do. There's always something to do, no matter what your hobbies are, so don't you worry about that one. And UCL as a whole is full of people from all over the world. All of my friends are from everywhere in the world. I've met people from America, from India, from Hong Kong, from France, from Poland, from the north of England, and it's just so interesting, and you learn to broaden your horizons and not just see the world from what you've experienced, when you see what other people from other countries and other backgrounds have experienced, and it's absolutely wonderful. And that's one of the reasons why I love UCL. It has such a huge and diverse student body, and we are in London, which is such a diverse city, and I absolutely love UCL for that. I love London and I love UCL. Now onto sort of the academic experience I had at UCL. Is two things that did put a huge damper on my academic experience at UCL, and also my experience at UCL like on the side. One of them is obviously the coronavirus. The coronavirus ruined my final year. So we're not going to have a graduation this year. We had lessons cancelled at the end. Assessments were changed. Lots and lots of different things that we had to go through, and obviously everyone across the world has been very heavily impacted by corona, but it just feels like we got the short stick, you know, because we had to go through this. I had to write my dissertation without access to a library, just relying on online sources, and in my subject area, you know, ancient languages, it's not super easy to heavily just rely on online sources, but we did it. It was absolutely a challenge. But we did it. And there's another thing that did dampen my sort of academic experience externally from myself, and that was the UCU strikes. So it felt like for me, I had a strike in every single year of my degree, and it wasn't fun. Missing class was not fun. Obviously, I totally support the lecturers, and the reason why they were striking is because severe pension cuts and 0 hours contracts and really bad conditions that some fellows work in. So I understand sort of why that happened, but it did affect my education. And this year, I think I missed probably about 6 or 7 weeks of teaching time about out of 20 because of the strike. So that did give a huge impact onto my degree, but they did try their best to sort of work around that so we weren't as affected, but it was a big stress. And the first time there was a strike, I ended up in the news. The first time I ended up in the BBC News, not the second time, that was about Twilight, but the first time I ended up in the news, and this is what the picture they used. So that was good. And that will have always bonded me and my flatmate that was in that picture. I'm gonna give you my pieces of advice that sort of shaped my academic experience, that I made mistakes that I don't think you need to make. So one of them is when you're picking modules, first of all, make sure the timetables do not clash. I had in first and second year so many timetable clashes, and that was mostly because my degree we had choice in every sort of credit. A lot of degrees in first and second year, you don't get a choice at all at what classes you take. It's sort of very structured program. But because we got to choose Latin or Greek, plus it depends on the level of the languages that we took that we were at, so including Hebrew and Latin and Greek. There was so much opportunity for timetable clashes, and I struggled with that in my first and second year. And my departments were really flexible about it. They didn't penalize me when I missed class for another class. And I also did have extra tuition by the departments, which was really lovely. And in first year, I think I actually had extra tuition in Hebrew from my dissertation supervisor, who actually wrote the book that we used in my first year of Hebrew, which is so crazy to me. So first of all is when you're choosing classes, make sure that the timetable works out with your commitment and your other classes. And the other thing is, if departmental people or teachers or whatever tell you that this class is for people in higher years or not really suited to your degree or your prerequisites, listen to them. Don't do what I did, because in first year I wanted to do Egyptian hieroglyphics, and I went to the archaeology department supervisor and I was like, hey, I want to do this class. And she was like, actually, we tend to only have second and third year Egyptologists in this class. It might not be that great for you. And I was like, no, it's gonna be really interesting and really fun. I really want to do it. And she was like, okay then, we can sign you up. So I got signed up, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It was the most difficult language I've ever taken. And I have taken quite a few languages in my life. The most difficult language, I have no idea how anyone even deciphered the Rosetta Stone, and I congratulate you. Those people who deciphered the Rosetta Stone, yeah, it was not a fun time, not at all, but I learned that you listen to the advice of the people who sort of are in charge of modules. I definitely struggled with motivation, especially in the first part of this year. I made a whole video about it. I'll link it up here if I remember to. But it's really important that if you're struggling with motivation and work ethic, that you talk to your friends, your family, your personal tutor. That's what they're all there for, and it's really important so that you can do the best that you can do. And if you're having some real mental health problems that you need to talk to, that at UCL you go and see them as soon as possible, because the waiting list is so damn long. I applied in November, I got my assessment appointment in February. Therapy that I went to, I have talked about it a lot on my channel. I'll link the video here. But one thing that I do want to say is that my UCL experience would not have been the same without my friends, whether I met you on my course, whether I met you in drama, whether I lived with you at some point. My heart is so full because of all of you, and I'm gonna miss you. And that is what I'm going to miss the most about UCL. I am going to miss the campus. I actually went with my friend Jake for a walk yesterday around Bloomsbury, and it was so weird because there was no students there. And there are always students there, even in the summer, because I went there this time last year and the student centre was full of people working, but not this year, obviously. It was really weird. But I'm gonna miss the campus, but I'm gonna miss the people, and I'm gonna miss the community. And that is one thing that I will strongly advise people at UCL, but at any university, is to make damn sure that if you want to be part of the community, that you are. And the biggest piece of advice about university in general that I have is you only get what you put in. You only get what you put into the community, into societies, into your work, into your friendships, you only get out of it what you put in. You can't go to university and expect to coast in any sort of environment if you're not out there trying to meet people that have the same likes and dislikes as you, the same worldview as you. You're not putting yourself out there in every aspect of your life. That isn't going to come back to you. It's always going to fall short. And if there's something that you want to do whilst at university, do it. If there's that one class that you want to take and it's not really part of your degree, but you have the opportunity, do it. I did that with a sociolinguistics class and with my BSL. So sociolinguistics was wonderful, but BSL changed my life. It changed my perspective on disability, it changed my perspective on the model of disability in society, and it's another language that I want to say mastered, and that has become a part of how I want to help change the world. That sounds really, really cringy, but that is the truth, my friends. I feel like that is all I have to say in this video. I have so much more to say about UCL. I could talk forever and ever and ever about UCL. It's my absolute favourite thing in the world. So if you have any more questions that you would like to answer in a video, if you want another video about my experience or a Q&A or something, please comment them or message me on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to answer the questions for you. Also a reminder that we need to keep the Black Lives Matter movement going forward. We can't forget about it. So in my description I will leave links to how you can help. Thanks for being faithful, and thanks for watching. Mwah.